Hi, I'm Neva, and welcome to Reading with Neva. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video. This is my August TBR video, so that's what we're doing. But I'm going to actually be introducing a new TBR game to my channel, which is my Gilmore Girls inspired TBR game. This game is pretty self-explanatory. It's easy, but I just have this pretty simple game board. Now I will say this, I forgot to change this before the video started, but where it says finish, that's actually going to be a Lorelei prompt. So the rules for this game are I roll a die and I will roll it to see how many times I'm going to roll to move. Then I will roll another die to actually move my piece. So it could be however many, honestly, like however many books. It could be anywhere from 5 to 100. I'm just kidding, not 100 books. But on average, I read between 10 and 20 books a month. It just sort of depends on how many I do physically, how many I do ebook, and how many I do audio. But that is what this TBR game is. For every Lorelei or Rory prompt, I do have a wheel that I'm going to spin. I have 2 wheels, one that's a Lorelei and one that's Rory, and those will give me the prompt or the activity that is Gilmore Girls themed. So before we start, let's talk about the 3 books that I actually have already on my TBR for this month. These are books that I've already committed to. I'm sorry, there are actually 4, but these are books I've already committed to. So the first one is New Moon, which is the second book in the Twilight series, where I am participating in the Twilight read-along that is being hosted by Sarah Shelves, Michelle's Library, and a bunch of other YouTube creators, and I will link that info down below. There is a Discord channel, there are intro videos, we're watching the movie, we're reading the books, it's great. So they're doing that for the rest of the year. So I am going to be picking up New Moon at some point in this month to be caught up with that. The next book that I will be reading is for my own book club, which is hosted by me, my friends Brittany and Reni, who I will put their pictures right here. And we are doing the Finley Donovan series for the Besties book club. So we will be reading Finley Donovan is Killing It. I'm going to be probably listening to this. This is a reread for me. I've already read this one and the second one, but since this is the September pick and the Finley Donovan Knocks Him Dead, I believe is the second one, is the October pick, I will be picking this up at some point this month, probably through audio. The narrator is great, but I do have it physically also if I want to read it that way. The next book already on my list is You're Invited, which was my book of the month pick from July. I had actually had this on my TBR for last month, and I had picked it up and started reading it. However, I kind of ditched it for rom-comathon, so I did not get this finished. So I will be picking this back up and finishing it. And the last book that I'm already committed to for this month is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is going to be a buddy read. I will be listening to it via audio. I tried to read this physically last month and ended up DNFing it at about 70 pages in. But I will be doing a buddy read of this with the audiobook with my friend Cassie. So let's go ahead and we will roll our die to determine how many times or how many rolls we will have for the game. Okay, so we will be rolling 9. So we will be moving around the board 9 times. So let's go ahead and do our first roll. Okay, our first roll is 3. And that is a Lorelei prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Lorelei wheel. Which is right here. Okay, Okay, so a book published between 2000 and 2007. So let me see. I don't think I have any physical books that were published between those dates. So let me go and look in my ebook collection and see what I can find. Okay, so for the prompt for a book published between 2000 and 2007, I'm going to go ahead and read the book, the first book in the Maximum Ride series, which I believe is just called Maximum Ride: The Angel Experiment. I will put it up right here. I have it on Kindle, and I've been wanting to actually reread this series since I do have the entire thing and haven't read it in a very long time. So we're going to do that. The first book in this series was published in 2005, so that fits for those years. Let's go ahead and do rule number 2. Okay, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our next prompt is contemporary romance. And I already know what I'm going to read for this. Okay, so our next prompt is contemporary romance. So I'm going to be reading the book After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a new book. Like, I just hauled this book. And I have not read this. The only other contemporary romance or romance-esque book that I have read by Taylor Jenkins Reid was One True Loves. So I'm really excited to read this one. I don't know a lot about this book. I know that it's about a husband and a wife who decide to take a break in their marriage to decide if they're going to be together or not. That's about all that I know about this. So it is a contemporary romance, just maybe not in the vein of what most people would consider a contemporary romance, but this is what I hope to pick up for that prompt. Okay, let's go ahead and do roll number 3. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so our next pick is a book friend pick. So for this prompt, I'm actually just going to be using one of the books off of the list of books that were picked by my friends for my favorite booktubers. Like, I read my favorite booktubers' favorite books. So one of my friends for that project actually picked Project Hail Mary. I have the audiobook for that, so I will be listening to the audio for that this month, and that is going to be my book friend pick. Other months, I may decide in the future to put a bunch of my friends on a wheel and spin it and then have that pick. But for this month, because I have so many books for that project going right now, I'm going to go ahead and pick Project Hail Mary, but I'm also not going to tell you which friend picked the book. It will be coming in a vlog soon. So that is what I'm picking for that prompt. Let's go ahead and do roll number 4. Right, 2. Okay, so our next prompt is next in a series. So for this one, I am going to be doing another ebook, but I will be reading A Court of Mist and Fury. Unfortunately, I do not have the ACOTAR series as physical copies quite yet, but I do have it completely on my Kindle. So I'm going to be reading that. I did complete A Court of Thorns and Roses a few months back. I think in like January, so at the beginning of the year, either January or February, but I thought I had read the second book. I only got about halfway through it, so I decided that I'm just going to completely start it over, and that's what I'm going to be reading for the next in a series prompt. I will be reading A Court of Mist and Fury. Okay, let's go ahead and do roll number 5. All right, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for roll number 5, we got Rory prompt. Okay, so for roll number 5, we got a Rory prompt. So we're going to go ahead and roll the Rory wheel. That way we can see what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to need a book that has a complicated love story. Okay, so our Rory prompt was a complicated love story, and this might be stretching it a little bit, but it's my TBR game, so I decide what I want to do. I am actually going to be reading the third book in the Vicious Lost Boys series. It just came out, literally as I'm filming this, it came out on today, which is September 1st. Hopefully you will also see this video on September 1st, but I'm going to be reading Their Vicious Darling, which is the third installment in that series. It literally just came out, so that's why I'm picking it. But in my opinion, because it's a dark Peter Pan retelling, it's smutty, it's steamy, it's all of the things, but it's also reverse harem. So to me, I feel like that's pretty complicated. So I am going to pick Their Vicious Darling as my complicated love story prompt book. All right, so we have 3 rolls left, so let's go ahead and do roll number 6. All right, 4, 2, 3, 4. So that roll gave us another Rory prompt. Okay, and it says bake a fall treat and watch Gilmore Girls. So I kind of get a free pass on no book because some of the prompts on the Lorelai and Rory wheel are just to do things. So it says bake a fall treat. I really just meant make one. So I will find something to make and probably vlog it when I do that. But I will probably vlog it and then I will make something that is delicious and then obviously go ahead and eat it while watching Gilmore Girls. So this will probably be something like, I don't know really what to make. Probably like cinnamon rolls or something that just makes me think of like fall. So if anyone has any ideas on like a treat that I could make, please let me know down in the comments because I do check my comments. Okay, I check them all, and I will find something to make as a fall treat. All right, so that last roll was really nice to me. So let's do roll number 7. 2. Okay, so our next roll gives us a Lorelai prompt. So here's our Lorelai wheel. Okay, so we need a book who has a female main character. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and read Legends and Lattes if I can grab it. So this book has been sitting on my TBR for a while and I just have not gravitated toward it. I'm not a huge fantasy reader in like the hot months. I prefer like summer vibes. I prefer all that. But in the fall and the winter, I love a good fantasy. So this gives me a perfect reason to pick this up. So this book is a high fantasy, a low stakes kind of adult fantasy. I've never seen one like this before. I guess you could call it like a cozy fantasy. But it is about an orc barbarian named Viv who decides she doesn't want to be a warrior any longer, and she travels to Thune and opens up their first coffee shop. So I will be reading this and probably vibing with it. It's not a super long book. It's only about 300 pages. So hoping that this will be a quick read for me, but I cannot wait to get to this one. All right, so let's go ahead and do roll number 8. Okay, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so Rule number 5 is an Ari pick. So Ari is actually my 5-year-old, for anyone who is new here, but she is actually taking a nap right now. So at some point after this clip, I will either put the book that she picked, or I will put a clip of her picking the book. Probably I'll try to put an actual clip of her picking the book, because I'm going to tell her to pick me a book off of one of these shelves. I'm going to give her like a shelf and be like, pick a book off the shelf. So I probably will just do that. Otherwise, I will stick a photo of whatever book it is that she picked right here. Okay? So let's go ahead and do our last and final roll. All right, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our final roll gives us a Rory prompt again. Okay, so our next roll is a book about books. Okay, so for a book about books, I have decided that I am going to be doing a reread of the book Between the Lines by Jodi Picoult and Samantha Van Leer. So Samantha Van Leer is actually Jodi Picoult's daughter, I believe, and they collaborated and they wrote, I think it's only a duology, but they wrote books together. So I'm going to be rereading Between the Lines. I read it years and years ago when it first came out, and I do have it on my Kindle. So I think this is just going to be like the month of rereads. So let's go ahead and do our final roll. Okay, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So our final roll gives us a Lorelei prompt. Okay, so this is a book about travel. Okay, so for my book about travel, I'm going to go ahead and do my reread of Run, Rose, Run. So this is going to be a physical reread. I originally listened to this as an audiobook. I had it from Audible and did not disappoint. 5 stars, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. But I do really want to do a physical reread of this so that I can annotate it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So since this book is about a girl who is running away from complicated things, in my opinion, that's about travel. It's my game, so I'm saying it's about travel. So we're going to be doing a reread of Run, Rose, Run. Okay, and I forgot to say this at the beginning, but another book that is also already on my TBR is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is also a reread, which is why I think this is just going to be just dubbed the month of rereads. But A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is about a girl named Pip who is doing I believe it's her senior project, and she decides to basically set up her own investigation of a murder that happened to someone older than her, but someone who 5 years earlier had been a student at her school and had been murdered by her boyfriend, supposedly. So Pip decides to do her own investigation into it and see what she can find, and that's her senior project. I really enjoyed this the first time that I read it. I believe I gave it either 4.5 or 5 stars. It may have been a solid 5. I read for 5s. But I am wanting to read, well, I am going to be reading the second book in this series next month. I guess I could have used this book for continuous series, but that wouldn't have really worked since I've already read this. So I will be adding this to my lineup of mandatory books for the month. So that's it for the books. So my stack is looking like this. These are all of the books that I will be trying to get to this month. Plus, of course, I have a few audio and ebooks that are being thrown in as well. So I have a lot of books this month. So just these alone, that's 2, 4, 6, that's 7 books. So I think I have about 12 books that are mandatory reading, not including ARCs, which I don't usually talk about. I'll talk about it in my wrap up if I get to all of my ARCs. And that is pretty much the conclusion of this video, so let me know if y'all think that I will or will not complete. I could end up switching up any of these books at any time. The goal of my game is to fulfill the prompts, not necessarily to read designated books, but I wanted to give myself some kind of jumping off point in case I'm just at a dead end and I'm like, I don't know what to read. So these are the books that I hope to read in September. They could change, and I will see y'all in the next one. But before you go, because I know some of y'all already turned this off, go ahead and down below leave me any kind of spooky, spooky season vibe emoji down in the comments below. Let me know what you are reading for September, and I hope that September is the greatest reading month for you yet. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.